One of Norfolk's most unusual churches is known not for its architecture, but for what grows where the altar once stood: a tree. An ancient oak that, according to legend, didn't simply grow from the earth, but from a man. Today we'll uncover the story behind that legend, joined by two curious Hungarian Mudi dogs, Horka and Chooda. St. Mary's Church at East Somerton was built in the 13th century. For centuries, it served as the spiritual heart of the local community. But by the 17th century, the village had largely been abandoned. The parish was merged with nearby Winterton, and the church was left to stand alone. There was no priest, and there were no worshippers. According to local tradition, a church official from Cambridge simply remarked, "A parish clerk costs too much when there's hardly anyone left to sing." The church wasn't destroyed, it wasn't dismantled, it didn't burn down. It was simply forgotten. As if it had been quietly erased from the world while its memory was left behind, like the aching root of a rotten tooth. The walls of the nave still stand, wrapped in ivy, their moss-covered stones slowly crumbling in the wind. At the eastern end, where the altar once stood, roots now reach deep into the earth. Today, the sanctuary is occupied by a tree. But how did it get there? During the 16th and 17th centuries, England was gripped by the witch hunts, and Norfolk was no exception. Although the region escaped the worst of the persecutions, local courts still recorded dozens of witch trials. Most of the accused were elderly women living alone, blamed for sick livestock, barren fields, and troubled dreams. According to local legend, a woman accused of witchcraft was buried here by the villagers, upside down, as superstition claimed this would prevent her from ever returning. The story says she cursed her peg leg before she died. From that cursed wooden leg, an oak began to grow, bursting through the roof and slowly consuming the sanctuary. Others believe the tree is the witch herself, transformed, its roots entwining the very body of the church.
Look, Chooda, something smoky is drifting down.
What do you think it is?
Maybe the witch has come back.
Oh, I hope she brought treats. I better grab them before they sprout into a tree too.
Historically, the reality was very different. In the Middle Ages and the early modern period, burial in consecrated ground was reserved for the faithful. The idea of a heretic, or someone believed to be a witch, being buried inside a church would have been unthinkable. In fact, such people were often buried at the edge of fields or at crossroads, to ensure they could never find their way back. In some cases, their bodies were simply discarded on rubbish heaps as a final act of disgrace. And the tree isn't nearly as ancient as many people believe. Lithographs made in 1822 show no sign of it at all. Yet by 1875, it was already standing there, large enough to be mentioned by name. The oak most likely sprouted in the mid-19th century from a fallen acorn after the church roof had collapsed. Judging by its size and trunk diameter, it is probably between 150 and 200 years old. The legend almost certainly came later, perhaps from village gossip a century ago. The internet simply made it immortal. Even today, people still believe that if you rest your head against the trunk, you can hear the witch's heartbeat. And if you step on one of its roots, misfortune will follow, because the tree never forgets. There are other stories too. Some claim that at dusk, or in the dead of night, they've seen a limping shadow shuffling among the ruins. Perhaps a soul never truly left this place. Today, the ruined church has become a place of pilgrimage. Wiccans, pagans, modern practitioners of magic, and the simply curious all come here. Some whisper quiet prayers beneath the oak. Others leave offerings, ivy leaves, raven feathers, or candles, in the hope of reaching the witch's spirit. Does she hear them? Is the tree listening? Or do people simply bring their own hopes and fears to this place? When we visited, the Mudis discovered the decomposing remains of a small animal beneath the tree. It may have been a bat, or perhaps a small rodent. Most likely it had simply died there by chance, or been dropped by a passing predator. But in a place where legends speak of sacrifice and restless spirits, even the smallest detail seems to carry far greater weight than it would anywhere else. And just like the ruined church, the legend has survived the passage of time. No one dares cut down the tree, perhaps out of superstition, perhaps out of respect, or perhaps because deep down, everyone senses there are some things that are simply better left undisturbed. Perhaps that is why legends are born, to fill the cracks in our understanding with something more human than bare facts. Because the witch people feared was often nothing more than a woman who didn't fit the ordinary world's expectations. And the tree, believed to be cursed, is really life's most stubborn expression. Finding a way to grow again, even where everything else has perished. The church stones, the roots, and the whispers of local folklore all preserve the same truth. What we bury never truly disappears. It simply returns in another form. And if the tree at East Somerton had really grown from a human being, then perhaps it wouldn't be a story of vengeance at all, but of one final green rebirth. The ruins of East Somerton are more than just a forgotten church. They are a place where time hasn't simply passed, it has taken root, where history and legend still stand, leaning against one another, and perhaps they never will crumble into dust.
Hey, Horka, what if I rode around in this dead animal? It smells amazing.
Then I think they bury you here in no time, face down. So if you ever came back to life, you would start digging in the wrong direction.
Oh, what a magnificent smell!
Oh yeah, Double Chanel, mademoiselle. The roadkill edition.